So, just finished chapter 2 of Today and Tomorrow by Henry Ford, and I have some interesting ideas from it. One of them is increased pay comes through increased business, and no business is possible. And no increase in business is possible except by lowering the price to the public. So Henry Ford has this idea that business is purely driven by making it more affordable so that people can buy it, but I would disagree with that highly because we have public libraries today where all the so much of the world's knowledge is free to people, yet they don't go to it, they don't take it, they don't do anything with it. I don't think people are necessarily limited by the cost of the item. I think they're limited by the value they see in it, or I don't know, I haven't thought this idea out fully, but it's like to do push-ups on the floor is free as a way of getting into good shape. To go running is free barefoot. You don't require anything at all. Yet people don't do them. People don't necessarily take advantage of the free things that we have in society, and they will pay for out their nose to medical and healthcare for little pills that try to fix their problems instead of reflecting upon themselves, instead of going through the effort to fix it naturally. They don't want that. A lot of the basis for modern medicine is formed around the idea that people won't change their habits, therefore we need to give them special pills. I mean, Alzheimer's I think just get classified as type 3 diabetes. And you know what beats type 3 diabetes, or any type of diabetes? The ketogenic diet. But we are so focused on coming out with Alzheimer's cures, Alzheimer's medication, because we believe people are incapable of changing themselves to the point where they can actually go on a diet. And it's really sad how true this is for a large portion of the population. Henry Ford also doesn't believe in monopolies being bad, because he says it must be a benefit to the public, else it will not grow. It has grown through service to the public, and the limit of its size is its ability to serve the public. The ability to serve may be limited by management, or it may be limited by transportation. That last sentence wasn't really needed, but he basically believes that a monopoly, if it exists, is good because it has come into existence through being able to meet the needs of the market, which in an ideal case is true, but there are many cases where through government regulation and other stuff, monopolies have formed and they haven't been a benefit to the public. Such as the De Beer Diamond Cartel, which maintains a monopoly on diamonds for much of the 20th century, not because they render the best service, but by controlling supplies. They purchase excess diamonds to restrict the supplies and maintain high prices, ensuring the demand would always be exceed available stock. Their dominance was rooted in market manipulation, not in offering better service to their customers. Then, even in Henry Ford's own time, you had Standard Oil by John D. Rockefeller, who controlled nearly 90% of the oil industry at its peak. While Standard Oil provided quality service, its dominance was maintained through aggressive tactics like buying out competitors, securing favorable deals with the railroads, and engaging in price wars to drive competitors out of business. And they got broken up by an antitrust suit. And let's see, there's AT&T, Microsoft. I'm just looking up some examples of monopolies that were not beneficial to the public. But he seems to have an idealized version of business that he talks about in his book. Here's another idea that Henry Ford talks about. Business grows big by public demand, but it never gets bigger than the demand. I cannot control or force the demand. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has maintained global dominance through aggressive marketing and branding, often creating demand for its products in marketing where people didn't initially desire sugary carbonated drinks. Its share Coke campaign and heavy advertising combined with the product placement and global partnerships have shaped consumer habits over the decades. I mean, I don't think anyone ever before Coke came around was like, man, I really want something that tastes like Coke. Like, it's not that good tasting at all. Like, especially when I first had it, and I can remember that I was like 12 or something because I never drink sodas, but it doesn't taste good. Another idea that he talks about is how innovation, like, think about how rare innovation is. Olden days, you would have a cobbler, a blacksmith, and everyone living in a town. Now, their size, how big they can get was dictated by how large the town was. And once the town became large enough that the cobbler could no longer service all the shoes, then a new cobbler would open up his shop. And in that type of industry where you're very limited by transportation, your ability to move stuff around, I just think it's incredible how like people actually came up with ideas to improve their work and to expand outwards, because you have to think about it, for generations upon generations, like, people were content with growing up, taking over the family business, working that, and then their kids would do the same, and it was kind of like a lied out thing. And when that exists for such a long time, the idea of innovation kind of like goes away. So for someone to actually have the desire to say, hey, I bet I could improve this and like get more business or do it faster. I mean, not only is that like such an incredible thing to happen, but the person who came up with the idea for the improvement would have to do so in their like would it require free time to do so. And when they're working back then without washing machines, without all these luxuries we take for granted, I think it's incredible how like the human desire to actually innovate must be like something within our psyche.